So the first topic tonight is why we don't teach lacrosse goalies to jump. Okay. So some of you uh some of you are in on my little always rant about jumping rope, right? And how I don't like jumping rope. And the reason one of the main reasons I don't like jumping rope is I think it's a waste of time, but two, I don't think it develops anything of significance for a goalie. But one of the things, because I've got a long list of those things, and if you go to my blog, if you go to lacrossegoalieuniversity.com and you just search for like 10 drills or 7 drills ruining lacrosse goalies, I think that's what it is. I lay it out even more, and I lay out some other drills. But one of the ones is the idea of moving vertically. Okay. So one thing that lacrosse goalies don't do really at all is spend time understanding the trajectory of the ball and the possibility of where that ball can go in space. So I've got a Lacrosse Goal University member who is is a ridiculously smart guy, way smarter than I am, and went to MIT and understands math and trigonometry and all this stuff. And he's been able to kind of articulate what I've been thinking, but I just don't have the brains to put it into some sort of app. But the idea is that in a sport like ice hockey, the puck moves from pretty much the ice, right? It moves from the ice up, right? 99 point some odd percent of the time, it's coming from the ground up. Soccer, same thing. It's coming from if we're looking at a shot like in close, which kind of most mimics what a lacrosse goalie would see. It would be like a soccer player, like just rifling a ball on a goalie in a soccer game. I'm not talking about some big, huge, like bend it like Beckham bullshit, pardon me. But, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, okay, the shot is basically coming from the grass up to the goalie. Same thing with field hockey. And now, granted, there's exceptions, but in lacrosse, the ball can come from all over the place, right? So it can, uh, a shooter shooting from, like, let's say outside the 8 meter for the girls and upward to like 20 yards for the boys, that shot can come from 7 feet off the ground. It can come from 4 inches off the ground. It can come from 3 feet off the ground. It can come from the right, can come from the left. And then as you come closer to the cage, well, now we have this like larger potential because a player can shoot like backhanded. They can shoot behind the back. They can do all sorts of stuff. And it's funny for those of you guys that are my generation and you grew up playing lacrosse, you remember like in a practice, if a kid did a behind the back shot, they got yelled at. And what I love about Instagram is that it's basically, and really it's Instagram, has increased the visibility of shot creativity, right? So with that, as a lacrosse goalie, we have to now become more prepared for that creativity. And I would say from our PLL goalies on down, you can just tell when goalies have not they get schooled by something because they haven't spent enough time understanding all these trajectories. Okay. And so one of the things that's really important to understand is that when you understand trajectory, and I use the string drill to basically map that out, and it takes time, but it's something where a goalie can start to go like, oh, I only have to move so far to make a save, right? I only have to move so far to make a save. And so this clip that I'm going to show you now is a great. This was on Instagram. I don't know who this is, all right, but I'll play it through once. Okay, play it through once, and you guys can watch. All right, it happens super fast. Okay, all right. All right, and so what happens here? Just to give you some backstory. So the goalie actually makes a save off this shot from out front, which looks like it's not from very far away at all. All right, and so it looks like the shooter kind of hooks the ball a little bit, and I got a lot of stuff going on the go here. Hold on. I hope I don't get too bogged down here. So there's the ball, right? So that ball's coming maybe, just under 3 feet off the ground. It's a straight shot, right? Coming at the goalie. and I think it hits him. It goes out of frame here for a second. But the goalie does a good job of getting something on it. Looks like a shaft. All right. And then it rebounds over here. Okay. So this is partly the not the nuts save. But anyway, the goalie does a fantastic job to get back into position. All right. And pardon me on the lag here. Let me just do this for a second. Bear with me. Gonna do this. Nope. Gonna do this. Hang tight, guys. All right, we're just gonna close up a whole bunch of tabs that I'm not gonna need for tonight. Boom, 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 boom. All right, there's our comments. There's Adam. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so here comes the rebound. Comes over to 18 here, and 18's got nice quick hands, gets the ball, and then the goalie recovers, all right, and gets into a very good position. Now, what's cool here, this is, I mean, when people ask me all the time, like, how do you stop a one-on-one? Well, you know, the general rule is this idea, like, you got to match sticks. Well, that's all well and good but we have to respect the fake. We have to respect the potential of the shot. We have to respect, like, okay, this guy could release the ball in a lot of different positions. But as a righty goalie, okay, on this post, now we're kind of crossed up a little bit. So righty shooter, righty goalie, right? But watch what happens here. The shooter goes to fake the ball right here. And that's what shooters are typically taught to do is fake high, shoot low. And the reason why they're taught to fake high is because the goalie will bite, and 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 the goalie will bite. And then you have all the time in the world to step around and put it in the cage, right? So, like, this is my point why we don't teach goalies to jump. The idea here is that this goalie can get into position and cover the top of the cage where this ball may go, right? Like, so right here, if this shooter were to shoot that ball, all right, we're basically looking at a straight line between the head of the stick, where that ball can go, and the crossbar. So let's say at the most, it's coming from 6 feet 2 inches to inside the crossbar, which is just under 6 feet. All right. So the goalie only needs to move their stick to cover that top point. So here as a goalie, we're basically baiting, right? And as a goalie, you know, again, we're like poker players. We're trying to play to our best potential here. And so the idea is the goalie's going to lower their stick, give them upstairs that they already have, and the goalie is going to try to then flood that space with their stick. Okay, I call it saving the space. I find that when you teach a goalie, when a goalie starts to try to be too perfect, they end up missing things. And so here, a goalie is basically thinking this shooter has 5-hole between his legs and upstairs. Now the goalie has done an excellent job, whether he did it on purpose or not. But see where his feet are? Like, his feet are inside the pipes. Like, his body, his flesh and bone are blocking part of the cage. This is what I call the base save potential. It's like the bigger you are here, like if this goalie weighed 300 pounds, right, and looked like whatever, the refrigerator Perry, or even like Shaq, right? You put Shaq in front of this cage, the shooter has nothing to shoot at, right? But this goalie, there's some holes, right? So the goalie in this position is thinking 5-hole or upstairs. And as you see the stick, you have to respect the fake. So coaches that say goalies should wait on it, I totally disagree, because if you wait on it, what happens if they've actually shot it? Well, you don't have enough time to do anything. But it's right here to cover the top of the cage, right? So we have to explode up, right? We're moving on plane, we're exploding up. So this is where if you take a dumbbell and you hold it like here, or you hold it here, if you hold it your arms straight out, that's heavier, it's harder to move. So I like where this goalie has their hands, because they have all the power here and they're ready to go up. So what's going to happen is you're going to accelerate up, but there's going to be a deceleration period where you need to reverse the stick. if you're going to go back down. So we have to respect that there's going to be a little, like, let's call it overage, right? Where the goalie stick is going to go above the crossbar, but like right here, he's pretty much got it covered, right? But what's going on is just really, it's an overplaying of the save. Like, he just totally bites and leaves the ground. So this save should be made with the arms. Like, if you're covering the top of the cage, that has to be made with the arms, not the legs, right? And this is where we have to be careful the words that we use. We talk about like explode, attack, erupt. I've heard all sorts of crazy stuff. But the problem is that you have to just basically keep the feet grounded. Okay, couple questions here. Hold on, let's go this. Um, um, I believe in jumping for bigger goalies. What would you suggest for bigger footed players for foot speed? No. um, no. Who is that? Bob, none. No, there's no jumping necessary here. Even and if you're bigger, there's even less. All right. So there's even less because you're already closer to the top of the cage, right? And also foot speed has everything to do with strength in the lower half of your body. So Bob, like from the hips on down, right? Um, when people focus on jumping rope, it's primarily like a calf exercise, right? We need, if we're going to have the biggest bang for our buck with our goalies, we want them in the gym learning how to squat and lunge and Romanian deadlift and all that stuff, and that's what's going to make them better in the cage, because it's not about foot speed, right? Like, so I don't know if you've heard me say this before, Bob, but foot speed. A lot of people think of foot speed like a soccer player in a ladder drill, like, oh, hey, wow, if my goalie's got or a boxer. The idea is that even boxers in the world of strength and conditioning, about 15, 20 years ago, boxers, people think like, oh, they, boxers are good boxers because they jump a lot of rope. No, boxers are good boxers because they spend hours sparring in the ring, right? Planting a foot and transferring force. So foot speed is all about, like, we're not moving our feet under our body, we're moving our body over our feet. Okay. But in this case, we don't want really any movement to come from the lower half, because we can cover it all just with our hands, just with our arms, right? We can do that. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. This is Elaine Miller, whose son is like, he's just a pixie. He's like 5'2". He weighs like a $110. Just kidding. He's like The Rock. The best thing my son did for his lateral movement came from working in the offensive and defensive lines in football and using those SAQ drills to continue working on his lateral movement. Tell him to work on anything jumping and he will check out on you. Right. That's totally true. Like, Elaine, and thank you for posting. That's really, really, really good. But the idea here, this is where as this play here progressed, when I saw this clip, I'm like, wow, this goalie is agile. He's quick, because he came from this rebound all the way over and got into position. And so right here, I'm like, this is great. This is good. His feet are in a good spot. His knees are ready. Like, he's ready to cover like low to high, right? And then all of a sudden, when he just like explodes on the first fake, like, wee. Now there's nothing to do. Like, he's got no chance to make that save. Also, if you watch where he lands, right? So he leaps and lands out of the cage. Okay, so the problem with that is that as a goalie, um, now he's totally outside the pipes, right? And so I think if this goalie is taught, like, with what, just on this one play, what I see from this goalie is that they're athletic enough to go, all right, listen, follow, and I think we got another comment here. Why not just say still match stick head? Well, the thing is, so one of the things about matching stick head, okay, if you're a righty goalie on a righty shooter, okay, and we're crossed up, if this goalie gets faked over here, over to his left, right, to the shooter's right, and he gets crossed up. So a lot of times what will happen is a player will fake, and this is what should happen, is the attackman should fake high so that goalie gets crossed up. because he's got no chance, and then shoot down low because now the goalie is crossed up like this and he can't get down, right? He can't get down. So that's actually an easier save to make, or sorry, an easier shot to score on. Okay. Um, so so yeah. So that's so even with the match stickhead idea, like I don't mind it. Like I'm not 100% against it, but what I don't, what we have to take into consideration is like if I match a stickhead, if I'm a righty goalie on a righty shot and the shooter's like just off the crease, side right, and he crosses me up top right, and I've matched his stick, I'm kind of hosed, right? And this is where my argument, I believe the lacrosse goalie of the future is going to learn how to switch hands. It's going to help me here. Because if you've got a lefty goalie in this position, they can still cover this top right corner, like the top right corner, but they can then also cover this far left side because that's where the shooter's going to go, right? They're going to fake high, shoot over there, right? That's it. All right, so we don't leave the feet. We don't leave the feet, and that's so. I was frustrated. I don't know who that goalie is, but I was kind of frustrated for him. So never tell my guy to jump. We match sticks, never leave feet. Excellent. All right, guys, thanks for watching and thanks for listening wherever you are. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you like this, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. When you're ready, head on over to lacrossegoalieuniversity.com/coaching so I can work with you and your goalie. And while you're at it, check out athletespecific.com to learn more about mental performance and high performance. You may not know this, but I work with athletes in a variety of sports. Lacrosse is my love, but man, I love athletes and the families who support them. So head on over to athletespecific.com and check it out. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.